beloved viewers. You are most welcome to Molten Heights Education Services. I'm Teacher Robert. I will be taking you through mathematics, and today we have made this video to introduce differentiation as a topic in mathematics. So what is differentiation? To bring the definition more closer, if we draw it from the idea that we have of finding the gradient of curves and straight lines, that is changing y over changing x, that is actually the process of finding that gradient is what we term to be as differentiation. Now we consider this like suppose we wish to find the gradient of a curve y is equals to f of x at a point p x y on the curve. Then we consider a second point q which is near to our point p that we have assumed with the coordinates x plus delta x, where this delta x is a small increment in x direction. Now let me try to sketch this curve and we see how we could find the gradient of this curve. So if you are to sketch, we would have this. Then this is y, this is x. Now we assume the point P, and point P has coordinates x and y. So it means on the y-axis, this point P, the point P will be f of x, because here we are saying that our curve is given by f of x. So if our x value is x, it means y will be f of x. Then another point is q. Another point that we have assumed to be near point P is q, and this point is having x coordinates x plus delta x. It means our function, our y value, or the y value on y-axis will be f into x plus delta x, or small increment in x. Then for us to find gradient at this point, it means we are going to take a chord passing through this point. But we said that this point Q is near P. So it means if you are to extrapolate this down, remember the coordinate was x, y, so it means down here we have coordinate x. Then this point Q, if you are to extrapolate it down on x-axis, it will have coordinates x plus small increment in x. Then if we name this point M, then this point N, so our f of this point, if you are to extrapolate it further on this onto this line, we shall get a point R there. So for us to get the gradient which is the change in y over change in x, if you are to draw this triangle there, it means our gradient, the gradient of PQ, gradient of the chord, gradient of the chord is equals to the gradient of the chord PQ actually is going to be given by change in PR over, QR over PR. So our PQ is given by Q R divided by P R. So here our Q R in this case is given by Q N, which is f of x minus R minus R N, which is f of x. So our Q R will be given by f x plus delta x minus f of x here. So our PR here is the change in this, the small increment we are meaning. So it means from here up to R, P up to R is the same as delta x. So our PR is given by delta x. So if we substitute this here, we shall see that our PQ is going to be given by f of x plus delta x minus f of x divided by delta x there. Now if we assume, if we make this point to Q1 to Q3 to Q3, actually we are taking the limit as this value of delta x, or small increment in x tends to 0. So it means therefore for us to find the gradient, the gradient of our chord PQ at PXY is given by limit as delta x approaches 0 of our gradient f of x plus delta x minus f of x over delta x. So we take the limit as our delta x tends to 0 to get the gradient PQ there. So if we assume P to have coordinates x plus now if from here, if our P has coordinate x, y, then Q has coordinate x plus delta x and y plus delta y, where delta y here is the small increment in y. So it means our gradient will be the same as taking limit to 0 of this point, which is for the y value is y plus delta y minus our y value for point P, which is y divided by the x coordinate on this side, which is x plus delta x minus the x coordinate for P, which is x. From here we are seeing that our y and y here, they are cancelling, and x is also cancelling. It means our limit there, the gradient will be the same as taking limit as delta x tends to 0 of delta y over delta x. Now here, if we take the limit of delta y over delta x, this one approaches to dy dx, which is actually the differentiation we mean here, like finding the change in y with respect to x.